Hello, hello. Back to some Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. I generally am just kind of doing the same thing that I've been doing for a while right now, and that's going through high rank, but it looks like this time around I have to hunt a Rathalos with Cha-Cha and Kiamba. That's something I'm gonna do anyways, so might as well chase it. Cool. Grab some potions. I think I'm largely okay. Oh, all right. Yeah, I'm not so much tired right now as I am dealing with really weird weather patterns, and I'm the type of person that gets pressure-related migraines and lightheadedness and all these super fun things. Benefit being I've actually had an MRI to make sure there's nothing like a tumor, so I'm all good from that perspective. Nah, I'm not gonna read Kiamba's weird text. Go hunt this thing for an ultimate mask. Okay, Kiamba. Oh, this is an interesting map for Rathalos anyways. Not really the end of the world, just fascinating. Oh yeah, Kiamba and him are just fighting over there. That's fun. I don't even really know why I'm looking here first. I just figure, yeah, I'll rule it out, and maybe he's gonna fly to where I am as I walk behind me. Oh well. Generally, I would say Half-Life Rathalos. No, high rank Rathalos is a bit faster, but if you have the pattern down, largely you should be fine. I guess it really depends on what you find challenging in this game. Everybody has different preferences, weaknesses, and that type of thing. Hey, here's our boy. We'll just paintball him. And we have good earplugs, so we can just stand there while he screams. A plus. Hey. Oh jeez, I thought I like shattered his ankle for a second there. I was like, I don't remember that being a thing, but then I realized there's a bug right next to it, so that would probably do it. Oh, I am pinned. Oh, okay, I don't know why he stopped. I'm not gonna complain though. Be a pretty dumb thing to do. Okay. I'm really just gonna focus on trying to break his tail first. Doesn't, like, even then it doesn't really have that much benefits, but you know, worth doing. Gives you a target. I find even like with real life, a lot of times doing something difficult is just about doing all of the little parts bit by bit. You know, I was training someone recently, and I was talking about the process with getting things done. And, you know, I can share my process and share the tips and tricks that I find useful. But a lot of the times, there are so many ways to achieve a good result and a finished result. You know, when it comes to, you know, doing something that's not overly specific, like say if you're creating something. If you're creating something, there's probably a lot of ways to do that, a lot of right ways. Infrequently, with my understanding of math, are there like multiple solutions for a single problem, right? Typically, from what I understand, you'll find the solution or you'll seek the solution, but it's not like if you have a 3, you can get a 3. Well, I guess maybe that's not what am I saying? You know, with math sometimes there are. Ooh, that was a good setup by the Rathlos. I don't even. With dogs getting all barky at something right now. I don't know what. So that was my bad. That was a little bit of a mess up. I got distracted. I know that's the excuse, but I started looking around because my dog was doing something that I heard like I don't know. Heard something weird. It is what it is though. You know, I'm kind of getting used to having a dog. I didn't grow up with one. You know, I was always a cat person. Not that I was like, cats are the only way to go and it's the only animal I want. But it was just kind of what we had. We were a cat family. And you can like grow to love cats. They're pretty awesome. They have good moments. They can be cuddly and nice and let you give them lots of pets. I find, you know, maybe it's just my experience. Cats were actually more destructive for me than my dog has been. Like my dog has chewed some stuff and like he's broken things, but my cats would like chew every cable that existed. It was actually quite an issue. So when it comes to you know, the dog, it's just kind of like, for the most part, don't leave something on the floor and it'll be okay. But you know, cats can jump to the top of a fridge if they want to. And I guess depending on your dog too, you'll have dogs that can get up to more stuff. But I have a corgi, and corgis are great at many things. Climbing up on tall stuff is not one of them. So generally, it's a doggo that you can have your things safe from, at least if they're on a table. Every now and then he'll look, but it's probably for the best that he doesn't get into too many things, because I don't have a strong disciplinarian soul. You know, I think some people do, and maybe if you grow up with like real discipline, you have a better idea of what that looks like. But I have this like very broken scale that doesn't have any middle gray zone. It's because like parts of my life I grew up with abuse that was mental and physical, and you know, I'm at peace with that being what it is. But it means that my idea of like enforcing punishment or enforcing discipline is very violent. Like, and that was always an issue for me. Like when I was going to school when I was young, I had a really tough time respecting teachers, because I kind of had this like, unless you're gonna hit me in the face or like potentially break a rib or something, I'm not really that scared of you, so your loud words don't mean anything to me. You know, timeouts had no power over me. For the most part, I didn't really care if you wanted to take something away, because I started working pretty early and I could just get my own stuff. So a lot of, I think, what were common disciplinarian threats didn't really work. And then, when that went away, I had a father that was aggressive and an addict, but he was the one that was violent. And then when he died, that stopped. But I think, like, my mother was never specifically very strict. That wasn't her deal. And even if she was, like, obviously her partner and my dad just died. So they weren't in a place to maybe enforce that type of thing. So I never really came to understand what normal discipline is like, nor did I ever really get to a place where it felt threatening. And I bring this up mainly to say that, like, if my dog does something bad, I will probably be like, no, that's not good. And then a few minutes later, I'll be like, but he's so cute, though. And that's kind of how it's always been for me. And it definitely makes some things difficult as well, because, like, I went to a school that had a lot of different nationalities with it, and then nothing wrong with that. It gives you a lot of great experiences, but it means your friends all come from different cultures. And when you have a very, like, lackadaisical strictness in your household, and then you compare it to, like, somebody who has to, like, turn in their report card to their parents, and everything is like a big argument and discussion, there's not a lot of, like, freedom and stuff like that. You feel like an outsider among other kids, because you just don't know what that experience is. And there's definitely, like, some arguments or conversations that I had with people who were my friends at the time that I look back on and I'm just like, oh, okay, that's why I didn't understand. Because I would be like, hey, let's just do this thing, or come out to this place, or, let's stay up and play this game. And they'd be like, no, I can't. My parents are mad at me, or my parents said I can't. And I'd be like, what do you mean? They get a say in this? And it was just like it was a big disconnect for me. And there's benefits to that too. Like, if you're not used to having to go to people for things, you become pretty self-sufficient. If you're just achieving your own ends and pursuing your own goals, then yeah, there's not a whole lot of value in that sort of thing. But it certainly contributes to a lack of respect for the position of authority. Because I think, like, for a lot of people, it seems to be your first experience with, like, the truth of authority is through your parents. And maybe it's through, like, people in your family, maybe it's people in your, like, social or cultural groups. Like, maybe it's a religious leader that's telling you to be a certain way or adopt a certain practice or whatever. The comparisons of people who grew up with that are really interesting to me. But that it's supposed to, I think, that first experience of strictness, we're not your friend, we're your parent, that type of thing, that's supposed to set the standard for, like, you have to listen to this person, you have to do this thing. And that's supposed to, like, transfer to, I guess, like, bosses and teachers and all of these entities. But if it was never there in the first place, then a lot of these people are just people, and that's very truthful. But I've come to learn that a lot of people get very offended when their titles and honoratives aren't being considered. Definitely an interesting thing. And again, because I didn't grow up with a lot of those, like, strictness dynamics, there are some statements that, like, just don't really make sense, and, like, common culture carries them as, like, a thing that is super important. But when you don't grow up with, like, what I guess is the dogma of it, it's just a bunch of stuff that doesn't really make sense. Like, look at, we'll say, like, respect your elders. it's important to respect people who deserve respect, and like folks who are older deserve respect and care and safety and all of those things. And that's not what I'm saying. But I mean, like, just because someone is older doesn't inherently mean that they're a good person, that they're a worth respecting person, that they're a polite person, that they're somebody who respects you. So, like, arbitrarily going, oh, you're 60, okay, I'll be, you know, treat you as if you're on a podium. I don't think that makes any sense. There's definitely, like, a lot of, like, I've never understood the concept of respect in general, in the sense that a lot of people use it. It's like, respect is kind of this imposition that they can talk about you however they want and do whatever they want. But if you know, talk back to them or raise any points against them or try and counter their perspective, then now you're not being respectful. And I guess, like, if you grow up with strictness in the home, that's an inherent concept to you. It's like, don't talk back, that's being disrespectful. But if you grow up not with that nonsense, talking back is just called contributing to a conversation. It's kind of like how talking works. Some could argue that if someone isn't talking back, you're not actually having a conversation at all. Like, this is not a conversation. If you're having some sort of like parasocial relationship, you may trick yourself into thinking it is, but it is more accurately a monologue. It is an improvised monologue at that. Yeah, if you hear a squeak, it's my dog playing with a toy. Well, that's what I want my dog to be doing right now. Just want him to be playing with a toy, or got him like this big leather thing he can chew on. Big fan of that. Oh, Kiamba, you just got totally messed up there, bro. Oh, nice. Knock this Rathalos out of the sky again. Nice. Get under that tail. Geez, though, if you are listening to this and you have a dog, and you have a dog that, like, has gone through a phase of barking at other dogs, and you have any tips, I will take them. We're doing the standard thing right now where, like, we see another dog and we start to praise him for giving us attention and use like a high value treat as soon as the other dog is in vision, and then treat as we move past, so long as he's giving us his attention, and then kind of like use that technique to have him focus on us, praise him for doing so, and know that like passing by another dog means good things are happening. Trying that, and that seems to be like the consensus of a good generic approach. But if anyone has any specific experiences, I'm always interested. If there are any other corgi owners, I don't know how like capable YouTube analytics are, but if I can tune all of my stuff to just have an audience of corgi owners who really like old RPGs and Monster Hunter games, is like, you know, that's perfect. The world's big enough to get an audience that's exclusively that, but it's how many people could that be? Corgis are pretty popular, right? So I could see it being a lot of things. I think a lot of people get corgis for so many different reasons. Pop culture is probably a big like factor. You know, there's a lot of famous corgis, and not even just in what I guess would be considered like the influencer scene. I feel internal recoil just at the statement there, but I guess that is the truth, right? Like, there's a lot of famous dogs, but even before like famous dogs, that do influencer type stuff. There were famous dog corgi characters, you know, there's obviously the most famous of Ein, but there's tons of others. I mean, there's even a corgi in Ruby. And then the queen has them, or had them, I guess. Wherever she ended up, I hope she still has some corgis. No doubts they'd be a benefit to her in the afterlife. I've never really understood too much of the disdain for the queen that, like, wasn't based in jealousy. And what I mean by that is, like, I don't like the part of the queen that had a better life than me, that got, you know, to be born rich, to live in this ruling class, this royal family, have all this privilege and access and acclaim. But I think it would be unfair to say that the person she was and the life that she personally lived outside of the burdens of her position and birthright, that's not somebody that you can overly critique, right? Like it or not, she was a World War II veteran. She did deploy for combat. She was a tank engineer. You know, like, if your grandma did that, you'd be singing her praises. You'd be talking about how cool she is. Went to fight the Nazis and build tanks to do it. That's badass. I don't like a lot of elements of the royal family either. And I would not say that's a perfect family unit. But what family unit is, you know, I would wager that a fair amount of our families, if they somehow had royal history, they would be just as likely to make some of the big mistakes that we've seen the royals do. I know I don't have a perfect lineage. That doesn't excuse it. I think it's important to point out. But we're getting kind of weird in society with stuff like that. Like, it's really important to, for example, understand how the Nazis came to power. And, for example, see, like, how the leaders of the time came to power and what they were talking about, how they used it to get to power. But even if you were to say something like, you know, like, Hitler was a great organizer of people in his early political career, which could objectively be a true statement, that doesn't mean that, like, you agree with it or think it's right. We're losing a little bit of the ability to have objective discussions, which is a shame. And I don't think, you know, having objective discussions should be used as a guise to approve, you know, paranoia or propaganda or falsify or deny things. But part of having those open discussions is getting to see uncomfortable truths. And some of those things are really, really important. You know, like, if you look at what happened with World War II and a lot of the atrocities there were uncomfortable decisions to be made to record these events and take pictures. But that was a really, really important thing to do. But I mean, like, you could, in some stupid political way, be like, why do you want pictures of that? Do you want to look at that? Do you like that? Do you secretly admire that? You know, you could look at Winston Churchill's demand of more pictures as in a dumb way from that perspective. One second. Alpha, what? My dog is something weird. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm just getting murdered by things here. Yeah, I don't know, my dog had like a bit of plastic or some... Dang, I don't know how he got it. Downside of, like, young dogs, man. They don't have a lot of emotional moderation. It's like real children. 0 to 100. Actually, I say that without any real experience of children. I don't know. Wow, this has only been 25 minutes. Feels like it's been longer. 25 is... It's not too bad for finishing this up, I guess. Hey, there we go. Thing of beauty right there. So, there we go. First high rank Rathlos for this playthrough decimated and puts into its place. Not that I really enjoy bullying this type of thing, but you know, the quest had to happen. I guess Kiamba and Cha-Cha had to get their mask or something. Let's put away the first aid med because we're not going to get to keep it anyways, so it doesn't matter. All right, while the quest finishes, I'm just going to check what my dog's doing. Cool. Looks like we're fine. Live action, live Let's Play disruption. Yeah, we'll save. That's cool. Oh, hey, look at this. A cutscene. Yamba. This terrible ultimate mask. Nothing like before. Nothing ultimate about it. But mask feel kinda strange. Yamba. Notice slight reaction to electricity. Kiamba wonder. Maybe this mask need more shock. Maybe shock treatment is key to unlocking secret of mask. Kiamba must unravel mysteries, so Kiamba take good care of mask until then. Alright, man, you have a weird looking mask. Great. Shock is strange. The mask Cha-Cha saw isn't it? Okay, yes. You both have the same dialogue. I don't really know. Like, I get it. You say the same thing, but slightly different. Maybe it's like some people only pick one over the other or something like that. I don't get it. I just kind of find it annoying. I don't like reading the same thing twice. Oh, it's you, the little rascal. Gave me the plans for another new mask. I can make it as long as you bring me the materials. How about you get right on that, okay? See the villager requests. Okay. If what the tyke is saying is true, it seems the mask is somehow transformed from its original shape. I asked Junior about it, but he doesn't seem to know how to fix it either. There must be some sort of strange gizmos inside it and such. Maybe figuring out how to fix the mask is some kind of rite of passage for the tyke. Must be a shakalaka thing. Okay. Buy a few more things here. Cool. So I guess now we've unlocked some more quests, which is always a nice option. Cool. Great job hunting down that Rathlos, and you got the ultimate mask to boot. At least we thought you did. But did you hear what the kiddos said? It's lost its original shape somehow. What a bummer. I sure hope there's some way we can fix it. No use crying over misshapen masks, though. If we let things get us down, our little buddies will lose heart too. Put on a big grin for their sake, will ya? Pretend you want a lifetime supply of whetstones or something. Alright, quit your grinning. We got work to do. Hunting requests are literally burying us alive. Okay, not literally, but you know what I mean, there's a lot. I bet if you hunt down enough monsters, you'll uncover some clue about how to fix the mask. It's in your best interest to get out there and hunt your heart out. Alright, so now we have moved on to 8-star high rank quests. Okay, so we have a Hunt a Legiacrus, Hunt a Diablos, Hunt a Nibblesnarf, Hunt a Barioth, Hunt an Agnactor, Hunt a Roggen, Hunt a Duramboros, Hunt 2 Duramboros, Hunt all large monsters, and Clobbering Time, Hunt all large monsters. Okay, well, I guess this is a thing. I guess looking at it, yeah, water is my best. Thunder is not great. I guess Legiacrus does use thunder. Oh, great timing. Got some hot news for you. According to Scuttlebutt, the Argosy captain has intel on some kind of new monster. It's supposed to be really something. I have to know what he knows. Let's grill him next time he drops anchor in the village. Oh, okay. So I guess when that guy comes on by, we'll have to talk to him about some stuff too. That's fine. In which case, what do I actually want to do? None of these are super, like, ideal over the other. I guess the closest to small is either like Barioth or Nibblesnarf. Yeah, I mean, let's go see what Nibblesnarf has going on. Hungry? Meow, it was a fine time for lunch. Salty milk came to be when a careless butler perpetrated one simple mistake. He added salt instead of sugar, and it was surprisingly tasty, or so they say. Meow self, I do not care for it much. Care to dine? Yeah, I do. I don't really know which one of these really matters, so we'll take this. Awesome. Ugh. Having wireless headsets is annoying sometimes. Try and keep this thing charged all the time, but it is just yelling at me right now. So I might lose game audio. Oh, I probably should have put away all this stuff. I hate that you can't go into your house after you've accepted a quest. Like, why is that? Okay, whatever. I'll just pay the stupid cancellation fee. Yeah, such a dumb gameplay choice. Honestly, I've never understood why they do that. Cool. Alright, we'll take it again. Come on, Nibblesnarf. Let's see what this danger on your quest is. I'm curious. Legitimately, I don't really know what it is. Oh, hey, we're in one of these, like, high rank spots. So every now and then when you're playing high rank, you can start in a random place on the map. And these areas usually have, like, really good drops or things worth mining for. So me having, like, a pickaxe and a bug catching net is really beneficial right now. Not really sure. Are golden bones just count items? Yeah. Ari stone chunk. Cool. Okay, well, to the desert. No, I actually don't know which way is faster. Maybe this way, maybe the other. He's probably out in the actual desert compared to being anywhere else. Unless for some reason this is the Nibble Snarf. But no, I didn't think so. Yeah, I wonder what the danger on this map is. Is it just another Dvilho? Is it something else? Oh hey, look at this. This one has fumes coming out of it, which suggests it's the real deal. That one's decently big too. I always am bad at being in the right place on Nibble Snarf, but yeah, whatever. We'll make it work. We'll fight it. We'll get in there. I feel like visually it's a pretty distinct opponent from the Rathlos from earlier. Oh, I wanted to roll. Huh. I did the opposite of what I craved to do. Oh dear. Yeah, a lot of consequences for doing the wrong thing. I think that the jump and snap move is... Oh, nice. We managed to disrupt it. That jump and snap move looked like it was new to high rank for Nibble Snarf. I don't recall seeing it from before. That would be fun if I completely mess up a Nibble Snarf fight too. I'd actually be kind of like amused by that outcome. I don't even think Nibble Snarf's that easy of a fight. It's just one of those things. It's just a funny word. You know? If you're saying, oh, I got beat by a Nibble Snarf, like it sounds like you're making up some gibberish phrase. All right. Oh, didn't see that coming. So that was a good move, honestly, on his part. I admire the martial prowess of this Nibble Snarf. Oh, wow. Straight up, honestly, such a different monster in high rank. I feel like I must have had to fight a high rank Nibble Snarf in third portable. Like ooh, that was funny. He kind of like ramped under me. But yeah, I feel like I had to have fought a high rank one in third portable, just as like part of natural progression or something. So maybe they got an expanded move sets in 3 Ultimates or something. Maybe I'm just doing nothing but massive amounts of copium right now. Oh, well, I'm glad my dog decided to chill out. I think that's just the nature of young dogs. You know, I try not to get too upset about it when possible. They're learning. Most things are a phase. That's why I keep on telling myself. But then every now and then you meet folks and they're like, oh yeah, my dog's 5 and he still acts like a puppy. And you're like, oh, great. Good. But it's okay. And you know what? It's so sad when dogs get old, you know? Like I saw a dog just the other day and it was a beautiful dog. Really, really cute. Big. But you could tell it had a little bit of mobility issues, like maybe a little bit of a hip dysplasia. but it just like big sweet eyes and like aging fur, but it just looked like a great creature. But when you see a great dog like having troubles moving or getting around a little bit slow, like your heart breaks if you're a decent person. You know, people, we have a little bit longer and it's still sad when somebody loses their ability to be independent. When dogs start going, it's like, bro, you only had, you know, a teenager's life, and yet now you're like 90. It's just, it's the worst. So I try to enjoy the silly, dumb youthfulness of puppiness while possible, while it's there to enjoy. Because I know there'll come a day where it's very missed, when you look back as like the good old days. Like, you know, there's like that much beloved quote, I think, and honestly I think it might even be from The Office. It's like the interview with Andy, and he's talking about how he wishes you to get a memo that tells you you're in the good old days when you're in them, so you can appreciate them more. And I think one of the benefits of having had some pretty hard experiences in life and seeing some big losses is you get perspective when it comes to what you're experiencing right now, for better or worse. And I'm not saying there aren't hardships or frustrations or aggravations or things that I want in my life right now, but I also, you know, recognize that even just being safe enough to be a dork and play some old video games and chat about nothing for a while, that's a safety, and that's an allowance, and that's something that I'm lucky to have the opportunity to get to do, even if it's not, you know, more than just a relaxing hobby. And you know, I have good things going. I have a lovely wife, I have a good dog, my family is here, most people I want to be alive are alive. You know, there's some good stuff there. It's weird getting older because like things that you might not have thought would bother you like, I've largely not thought I was somebody who would be affected by celebrity deaths, but over the years, you know, you start losing heroes, the people who created the things that inspired you to be the person that you are. Sometimes you see people who just lose such tremendous opportunity and potential, and it's kind of heartbreaking. Like, it goes back to even a little bit of the parasocial relationships that I was talking about earlier, and it's probably a bigger issue in society right now than we realize. But some of them are, I won't say legitimate, but they can feel comforting to believe in. Like, you know, when Stan Lee died, I recognize that even in the world of Marvel, in the world of those characters, that, you know, Stan Lee was one of a few people who contributed to the success and creation of a lot of stories and characters, like Ditko as well, incredibly important and maybe not discussed as much as possible or as should be. But that doesn't mean that we need to knock down Stan Lee for the things he did do and the personality he had. And I think it would be foolish to say that even if maybe he didn't write 100% of everything, even if, you know, there's disputed accounts all over the board on who created what and who did what, it would be dumb to say that Stan Lee wasn't a positive part of Marvel and bringing that to people, and to think that, you know, without him it would have been exactly what it was is also inaccurate. So to, you know, lose that icon is a shame. Whether or not he, you know, created 100% of Spider-Man or not, that's up for debate. But did he have a soapbox at the end of his comics where he'd talk about, you know, civil rights and how important it was to treat people properly and how the things that divide us aren't really all that big if you look at him. You know, he had a lot of great social messaging, and even if he had a big personality and maybe overshadowed some people, at least he didn't use that for evil. You know, he took that spotlight, but he did something good with it, and that's pretty commendable. I'm surprised Ozzy Osbourne is around, if I'm letting that train of thought continue on going down the rail. Like, of all of the people, too, right? You'd figure Ozzy would have just, like, had a stroke or something. Watch, I'll say that, and tomorrow morning I'll wake up and Ozzy Osbourne will have passed away, but just for the life he's had, the experiences he's had, the way he's treated his own body, yeah, it's shocking to see a Ozzy Osbourne that's still around. And you know what? This is probably a good reminder to myself to go back and listen to some more Ozzy Osbourne music. I haven't listened to it for a little while. Like, Sabbath is good. I'm definitely actually, when it comes to Sabbath, I'm an Ozzy era guy. I think Sabbath with Ozzy was the best era of Sabbath. And while I love Dio and respect Dio and think he's a tremendous musician, I thought he was better solo. I just thought that's where he was more successful. Like, I can't really name any songs that Dio did with Sabbath. Maybe that's on me, you know, maybe that's my bad. I should go find those songs and listen to them again. But I know a lot more of his solo work. And I know a lot more of his solo character, right? Although unfair to mention Sabbath without giving credit to the other people. I actually saw Iommi play guitar once, and the dude is insane. What a talented musician. That's kind of something I miss, actually. A little bit of like rock and roll and guitar, and in a way I kind of wish I got to see what, you know, maybe the 70s was like when Led Zeppelin was cool. I've only ever got to grow up with that stuff being vintage and I guess decidedly out of date. It's vintage cool, but it's not current cool. And kind of depressingly, I don't think I've ever got to live in a point in time when rock and roll or metal or any of that stuff was like the big thing. From pretty much as soon as I was aware of popular culture and popular music, it was definitely going over to the hip hop and rap and that type of music. And there's good stuff in those scenes too. I won't be entirely cynical. But it was disappointing for me to like find that I had really only by maybe a decade or so missed the era where the long hair and leather jackets and bass guitars and heavy riffs and all of these political lyrics and stuff like that was being moved away from, at least the presentation that I enjoyed. And then I got to be, you know, in an area of much more maybe superficial pursuits. And that's always been there. I mean, who doesn't want to be a rock star and have all the benefits of that experience? That's a time or a tale as old as time. But the way it's, you know, handled is different. I definitely, like, could have been transplanted to a high school from the 70s. And visually, I think I would have fit quite well. With the one exception that I feel like I would have looked like a toddler. Because, like, if you ever looked at adults and, like, young adults from that era, they all looked way older than I remember looking when I was 17. You know, like, I see pictures of some, like, adult men from the 70s. I felt like they all looked like, you know, 30-year-old hockey players. Like, full beards and mustaches and motorcycles and, you know, just a look that, like, compared to the bare lips, somewhat soft 17-year-olds that I knew, no one was, you know, being mistaken for dad. But definitely happened in some of those pictures I've seen. Jeez. I think that's a thing too, right? Like, I think it's there's a few different causes for that effect. So one of them is like the associations that we have with certain generations. So like the clothing that somebody was maybe wearing in the 70s, maybe the same clothing that that person wears as they're aging. But because the style is the same for them, and now we associate that style with an older period in time, they inherently take on this impression of being older or more mature than they were, because they just, by association, are dressed like people we consider old. But then I think there's a lot of lifestyle stuff that goes towards this as well. Like, you know, even if people smoke now, they probably don't smoke in the car, or they don't smoke in restaurants, or, you know, if their parents smoke, they go outside to smoke. There's not, you know, as many people blowing a face full of cigarette smoke into their kid's face, or filling up the car and tell them not to put up the windows because it lets the smoke out. Like, you know, that was a thing of the past, just not a thing anymore. People I would, seems to be, you know, would push themselves harder. There was less of a self-care routine. My grandpa's day, for example. And I wouldn't say, like, you know, objectively, right? Like, I, as a dude, I'm not like the most masculine of dudes by any definition. But I still have my blind spots. So, like, do I naturally go to put on, like, moisturizer and stuff like that? No, I don't, obviously. Do I have a wife that has taught me about these things and encourages me to not look like an old leather bag when I get older? Yes, also, that's true. Now, here's the thing. Do I think, like, look at my grandparents, right? Was my grandma probably trying to get my grandpa to slather on sunscreen and moisturizers and aloe veras and do all that stuff to keep him in good shape? No doubts about it. My grandma was a health nut, and she was ahead of the game on a lot of those things. But my grandpa's generation of men, probably a lot less receptive to it. Right? Like, you know, I could hear my grandpa being like, get that stupid shit away from me, or something cranky like that. Right? And then me, it's like, if someone wants to put something on my face and maybe like massage my hands or like comb my hair, I'll be like, yes, please. Thank you. So definitely a generational shift. Some changes there. And probably for the best too. I couldn't be one of those like super mean, jaded dudes. Like, I have my anger issues. I think everyone has things to be angry about, and I have my cynicism. But like, I try not to be the type of person who is always looking for a fight or trying to find reasons to put people down. You know, I try to be an easy person to be around, and that's probably not the definition that a lot of people would give for like older generations of men. I even remember, like, here's the thing. I remember being a kid and getting into an argument with my grandpa. And I can't remember why. He was visiting, some dumb thing happened. We had a spat about it. But I was, like, literally 9. And I remember being, like, cranky, and we were all going to go somewhere. And I was like, no, I'm not going to go. I don't want to go. I don't care that we fixed it. I don't want to go. I'm in a bad mood now. And that wasn't very mature, but I was 9. But conversely, I remember my grandfather doing the exact same thing and him being like, no, I don't want to do anything. I'm cranky, blah, blah, blah. And while that's hilarious, I think it also goes to show, like, kind of like maybe how men of that generation solved problems. You know, they didn't really talk it out, figure out what was happening, take in everyone's point of view, and then make the best choice from there. They usually just, like, angrily put their foot down, made things uncomfortable, and like left some implications that maybe something worse would happen if they didn't get their way. You know, that's not fun. I think there's lots of like, you know, wait until your dad gets home in a lot of people's childhoods, but like, that's not a good thing. Why are we wanting these dads to be these people who are gonna come home and now everything's bad and not fun? You know? Maybe that's one of the reasons I didn't ever want to be a dad. That's the implication you get. You know, this disciplinarian who has to come home and be mean to everyone and crack a belt and get mad and have the final say. I didn't ever appreciate that person in my life, so maybe I didn't want to be one. But even then, when it comes to like my dog, I feel the masculine parts of me sometimes drawing to those reactions, that desire to just have things go right away, to be listened to, and I want to challenge those things and work to mitigate them, because that's a reminder of some uncomfortable stuff, and it's a good indicator of when to turn the other direction. Hey, look at that. Nibble Snarf defeated. Are we running okay on time? Oh yeah. This is great. That's a good finish. That's the benefit of these high rank fights, is it's really just kind of like 2 to a video, more or less, because they have so much health. Geez, if I do get to G rank stuff, it's gonna be like, all right, everybody, today we're gonna fight one thing. All right, we did it. Goodbye. All right, we'll take that. Take that. Awesome. Save here, and I just want to go check the smithy. Do I have enough to start seeing what the high rank Rathlos is gonna? Yeah. So even just like at base level, oh, the Nibblesnarf gear actually looks kind of cool. But that Rathlos, yeah, even at base it's at 53, which is pretty awesome. Not much better against Thunder though, which is kind of a shame. I'd like to have a set that, I don't know, I guess was better against Thunder. Do I have anything that has any positive Thunder resistance? Wow, pretty much everything's bad against Thunder. That's a shame. Oh well. Go and put my stuff away here. Thanks for checking out this Monster Hunter episode. I'll continue going through high rank next time around. Have a good one till then. Bye.